thought that industry is the first green supporter. So we wanted to demonstrate this. And to demonstrate this, we had to show that industry development and economic growth could happen while decoupling from the use of our natural resources. So while being really green. Because if being green means stopping the growth and coming back to the Middle Age, this is not what we want.
My question is, do you think as a material scientist, I should definitely stop using them? And do you think there is a solution to the byproduct question? Are there any issues? What are your thoughts about this point? I mean, what should we do as material scientists with the byproducts?
Sometimes we're talking about extraction, sometimes we are talking about recycling, but actually those flows are linked together, but maybe at different time, because there are always some temporal delay from the use to recycling. Yeah, so I think, yeah, I could use a solid and integrated framework to, put everything together, no matter for the material flows, the technology flows, or the economic flows, because under that framework, we could definitely, we could see how those flows in different process, and then finally, it depends on our targets. So if, for example, before the lithium recycling, that doesn't make sense because it cannot make profits. But the recent years, the price for the lithium increased by a lot. Then at this time, recycling, the companies would, recycle the lithium more. So everything is dynamic, but the framework, that's the same. So we should put everything in the solid and the integrated framework, and then we set our target there, and then we decide, okay, what kind of option we should choose. Yeah.
There is not a problem of availability, as I said. It's a problem of the price we want or we could accept to pay to get this metal. But the problem is to waste a lot of ores. If the ores which are not exploited today because of problem of profitability, I think what is reasonable is store them properly for the next future generations. And there is a lot to do in that field, and probably it must help again by regulation.
One good thing that has happened, however, within Europe is in Germany, where they have implemented since 2019 a progressively increasing carbon price floor. And apparently, that still hasn't made it to the European Union level. What's your thought on that, Roberta? Would that make your life easier?
Well, it's not a simple question to answer to, but what I think that one big aspect when talking about investing in hydrogen is that the investors can contribute in decreasing the production costs of hydrogen. Why is it so expensive? Because we don't have large production at scale. And if this was happening decentralized in many countries, then the prices can also go very down very quickly. The same as with the carbon prices, as you mentioned. So I think that we need best practice cases to learn from them, make these groupations according to renewable potentials, according to high hydrogen demand, and then to build the base for lower hydrogen costs from down to the top.
Now we have the knowledge. How to implement this knowledge, first of all, inside the technologies, but also through, and that is very important, education. So first of all, it's quite obvious that the banks need more experts. in safety and sustainability.
What is your take on the corporation side of the things? What would you say? For instance, we know things about like planned obsolescence and everything. So even if we train people, there is this big, huge cog of the system, which is the corporation.
Yeah, there is a big difference between what you're doing at home
yeah.
and what's happening in companies, because companies have a close look at their budgets, their finance. So this is typically the first reason why they would change something. Because, okay, we can, if they understand the reasoning behind extending lifetime of used devices, and rather than renewing all the laptops and desktops every 3 years because it's the normal, it's not a physical lifetime, it's a accounting lifetime. So they can easily understand the financial games that they can make very easily. So that's also a positive motivation or a facilitation that very often financial motivations and environmental motivations come together. So there is, yeah, co-benefits or joint benefits on the financial side and environmental side.
I reflect back to some of the earliest lectures that I've given, Introduction to Materials Science and Engineering, to engineering students, and we always start the first lecture with the Stone Age, and then the Copper Age, and the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age, and then much later on the Industrial Revolution, and then you've got the Semiconductor Age. And it struck me we're probably entering the Green Age. So maybe that's what we should be calling it rather than the green transition. We should be calling it the Green Age, because listening to you, we need a whole new, an additional set of tools to prepare people for all those new jobs that exist out there. How are we going to do that? I mean, Didier, you've been successful in starting up all these master programs. What's different in those master programs that don't exist in other programs?
Yeah, I think what is different is that we name them the T-shaped students. I mean, that will not only have skills in one specific domain, but we want them effectively to be thinking out of the box. And during these 2 years master's students, I would say, program, we bring them effectively to different challenges with industry. We also want them effectively to be entrepreneur, and I already told you, I mean, we have events where we bring them effectively during one day close to startups. And this brings me to one point. I think that if we want effectively to facilitate or to accelerate this transition, we need new ideas and we need startups. And it's really important that the students will have effectively this mindset to go into not only large companies, but also that they will effectively be creative and support this transition by setting up a new company.
I'm a student here in the Geosciences and Civil Engineering department. And I had a question. How can you convince students whose environmental values are more and more important to get into, for instance, the sector of materials extracting? How do you get them to think, yeah, I'm making a difference for the better?
Can I just complete this question with a bit of a personal situation? I met, just for you students to know, I met the 3 persons that are here in Berlin at the EIT Raw Materials 1 year ago. And Sol was saying on stage that she's looking for the way to make students, engineers, understand that they are heroes because they are going to make the Green Deal happen. So I would like to reformulate a little bit your question, even more provocative to ask maybe Sol, can you make us a short report, progress report on how to make the students feel heroes when they work on the field of material science, geoscience, and energy?
We have to do it in a sustainable way. That means we cannot go from gas and from oil and gas and say, we're not going to use it anymore, we're going to go to green electric. Okay, you need a transition, and probably if we go right to 100% to green, renewable energy, we still will have some problems because renewable energy need metals and will make some, garbage, and so everything's. It's not about doing in a way, just in a way, or just in the other. It's about finding the right equilibrium to do it in a sustainable way. And to do that, we need people that get natural resources, but at the same time live it in the right way, and live it in a way that can be used for future. Because you need future for those, mining and reestablish that land. So the point is trying to find not only saying it's good renewal, it's good green transition, there's much more to come. 15, 20 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about this. Within 10 years, you and I won't be talking about this. So we need people that create whatever we're going to be talking in the 10 years. And we need heroes.